It's not just in our time. We're going back to the suffragettes. We're going back to the whole trade union movement and so on. When the government criminalises legitimate protest, where do the extreme, where do the activists end up going? And what I'm scared of is that this has become pointless. Why not bomb an oil refinery? What have you got to lose? You're going to get 5 years for talking about a demonstration. Why not risk, we've seen it in America, so I'm going to regret saying this. It's all on film, but I've said it, and I'm scared and worried.
There's the risk that more extremist things may happen as a result of the really strict political sentences. Yeah.
There's a risk that some people will
go to the other side.
Go to extreme.
Just Stop Oil held their final protest in London over the weekend. But what comes next? Caitlin Maskell asked the demonstrators.
I've been saying it since joining the streets with XR in 2019 that we're the non-violent ones. Who comes after us?
There's no two ways about it. If you block somebody in a car, you are going to get them annoyed. And that wasn't our object. I mean, it wasn't something that we enjoyed doing. Nobody liked doing that. If you don't disrupt, I've spent my entire life in my work and in all the legal protests doing what we were supposed to do, all the approved stuff. We never got anywhere. I've wasted my career. We're going backwards. As soon as you step out in the road, and we were always non-violent and careful. We always let ambulances through. All the stuff that the media distorts. We took a lot of care about and planning about doing it as safely as possible. As soon as you get out there and just disrupt just a little bit, 10 minutes, everybody talks about it.
I have to say, if you compare the farmers' protests, which were much more disruptive, and actually not a wink, not a blink. So you're absolutely right that the disruption attracts the media, causes attention, raises profile, and has positive benefits. And there's plenty of research that shows the radical flank of any movement is essential to raise profile and to create further downstream greater ownership and commitment and so on. But it's not a level playing field, so some people can protest and disrupt traffic and absolutely no impact, but others, the law comes down like a great big ton weight.
Do you think that it's, young people like yourselves, do you think that it is made you wary of coming out to protests like this because you could be at fear of being arrested?
Not necessarily at protests like this, because I think there is safety in numbers, but in terms of maybe actions, or what I guess we like to call spicier actions, definitely it's been a deterrent. Because
do you think it's going to deter people from ever being a part of a climate movement like this again?
I don't think so. No, I think the power of love and empathy will always override fear.
Do you feel disappointed today that it's ending?
A little bit, but I also kind of have this isn't going to be a very good interview, but never mind, you're asking me, I'll answer them honestly. There's a certain sense of inevitability about it because the state has clamped down so hard. People are going to jail, Roger Hallam, got to mention the name, 5 years for organising a Zoom meeting and not actually doing anything.
There's no winning in a society where everyone stands to lose everything. The only way the government wins in this situation is if they take concerted action on climate issues. It is an existential threat that threatens all humanity. There's no winning if they don't take the action that's necessary in order to protect those lives. So although they might think that they've silenced some individuals, and of course they will have deterred people from taking action, it's clear even today that it's not enough of a deterrent. We had 1,000 people sat outside the Royal Courts of Justice a couple of months ago for the sentences of these political prisoners for their appeal. 1,000 people sitting in the road hasn't happened since 2019. So I would say to the government, deter this.
Is there any political party that cares about climate change right now, do you think?
Not really. Not really.
And the other thing is we're getting a reputation internationally now as being really repressive and blocking protests.
I always said that, other people in other countries, like in Saudi Arabia, they'd get beheaded. So I should be able to do this. As long as not beheading people. But of course there are the realities are that it is quite challenging when it comes to having lots of court cases and the finances around it. So sometimes you are faced with that, even though it's I'm not going to be beheaded. There is a reality of just trying to live your daily life, no matter how concerned you are. Because that's one thing I feel. On the one hand, I think this is the biggest. This is an existential threat. But on the other hand, I do, just sort of want to live the next few years as well.
Do you have a message to Keir Starmer?
Give up, Keir. It's over. You're useless. You're absolutely useless, sadly. We need change, and we need change of an order that he's nowhere near engaging with, and his government is nowhere near engaging with.
The people, not to CEOs of massively damaging corporations.
Well, they're not a party of the people. They're a party of vested interests of oil moguls and oligarchs, and their only intention is to try and deregulate industry, try and cut back on services, and try and generate as much power and wealth as they can for the people who are already powerful and are already wealthy.
I don't think it's to do with the Labour Party or the Conservative Party or any party. I think all the political parties are influenced and affected by big oil and other big money. So I don't think it's about party political politics at all. Just Stop Oil's mandate was to just stop new oil. And as far as that's at the moment, as it stands, that's being upheld. So it is a huge achievement. It really is.
There's no evidence, documented fact evidence, that any emergency vehicle has ever been impeded by a Just Stop Oil action. There have been by the Countryside Alliance. Ambulances stuck behind tractors. That doesn't get in the news. It's very, the media is, I don't want to blame the media, but you can't help it. They're very politicised. No offence to you guys.
And now it's ending. What's next? Who's going to be leading this charge? If not Just Stop Oil?
Don't know, really.
Not sure.
Hopefully someone else?
Yeah, I think XR's picking up again. I don't think XR's gone away, but I think there's other radical wings coming into place, not going away as youth demand.
A lot of us are going to keep up the pressure, be it in Just Stop Oil or in other movements, because obviously we have a lot of other things that are really important at the moment, such as trans rights and Gaza and that kind of thing. So we are sort of trying to focus on more than one thing at the moment, which is quite a lot.
I think that all that will happen is that lots of tactics will move, probably more underground. It won't be surprising if we start seeing, significantly disruptive actions happen where the individuals are not holding themselves accountable. The thing about Just Stop Oil that made them so brilliant, and that's the reason we've never been a part of Just Stop Oil. We've come out today to support them. It's the first time we've ever joined them, and the reason we're out today is because what they have done is absolutely immeasurable. They have kept the climate issues on the agenda for the last 3 years. In practically every newsprint, practically every week, there's a big story where we're talking about climate and the reason these people are taking action. And all that will happen when Just Stop Oil stops taking action is those individuals will move on to whatever the next group is. And I welcome that, and I think that if it has to be more covert, then so be it.